There is one more person to speak, a very important person, and that is the late former mayor's brother, the Premier of Ontario, the Honourable Doug Ford. Welcome, sir, to the podium to say a few words.
Well, my goodness, I'll tell you, this is one of the proudest days of our family, for our family, I should say. Myself, I know Dougie and Renata and Stephanie. She sounds like a future politician, Stephanie. She's getting there. She's been hanging out at Queen's Park too long. But I just want to start off with thanking, and I'm going to save the mayor for last year for a second. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out and just showing the respect that you have for Rob and our family. It just means absolutely everything to us. I want to thank the great team behind us that went to the Metro Bowl, and the coaches and the players that they absolutely loved Rob. Rob never called them football players. He called them his kids. And I knew right away it wasn't his kids, because he'd always say Stephanie and Dougie. But when he was talking about his kids, anyone that knew Rob knew who he was talking about. He was talking about his football team. You know, if you look back over the number of years, the Rob Ford Football Foundation donated about $100,000, and I'm going to read off the names of the high schools that he helped out and contributed to buying equipment. But Rob had three major loves in his life. First, his family, his two kids and Renata. His second love is serving the people of Toronto. And every single day, I'm not exaggerating, every day, no matter where I am, people will show me a picture, they'll tell me a story, how he helped them out. And that just means absolutely everything to our family. And his third love was football, and they're no longer kids. They're adults with families and their own kids. I'll tell you, I actually don't have to tell these guys. You know how much Rob meant to each and every one of you guys, and he's just an absolute champion. I remember that picture in the mayor's office. I remember that picture as well. And he brought a program I think it was started in 2002 at Don Bosco that didn't have a football team, to 2013, and brought it to the Metro Championship. And Metro Championship for non-football players, it's big. It's basically like the Ontario Championship. Any coach, and I know there's coaches behind me, there's coaches in the crowd. I know Neil Lumpson, one of my MPPs, ministers, he was coach. No matter what you coach, and I think there's Heath Weir from Huron Heights here, Warriors, which is the best team in the entire country. No matter what you coach, no matter if it's football, basketball, hockey, gymnastics, anything you coach, you come very attached to your team. You become very attached to your players. And some of these, as Rob said, his kids would be with him for 4 years and sometimes 5 years, starting in grade 9 and working their way all the way up to the team. And I'll never forget, on many occasions, I'd call Rob and I'd say, "What are you doing, Rob? Where are you?" And this is after work. "Well, I'm going to make up this name, John. I'm going to get John cleats. I'm going to get him because his parents can't afford the cleats. He can't make it on the football team." Another memorable moment is when he says, "I'm just at the grocery store picking up groceries." I said, "Oh, are you heading home?" He goes, "No, I'm going over to one of our football players' houses," because he dropped them off and he went in there and there was a few kids and they offered him a drink, and when they opened up the fridge was empty. Honest to God story. He never talked about this, but story after story after story about Rob and his passion and his love for his kids. I walked into his office many times, and some of the kids there would be inside his office. And I'll never forget, maybe he's standing behind me, maybe not, but there was this one kid, I couldn't believe it. He must have been 6'4", 300 pounds, and he was sobbing in Rob's shoulders. You know, they had an issue, but Rob was dealing with it. It took everything I could to just hold it in. And I'm thinking, boy, this is the Rob Ford that people need to see. The people that, you know, always called him for help, and he'd be over there. And the stories I'm hearing over the last few years, never heard before. But I'm going to repeat one story that I said at his eulogy about Gus over at Mr. Sub. I'll never forget this story, and maybe some of you remember this. So Rob comes back to the office, you know, about 8 o'clock at night, and he had a sub, and I sarcastically said, "Where's my sub? I thought you were going to meet me here 45 minutes earlier." And he said, "Well, I had to go deliver subs." And he was the mayor at this time. I said, "You got to be kidding me." He said, "No, I went into Mr. Sub, and they had an order that was takeout, and someone couldn't take it out, so I offered," Rob saying, "I offered to deliver the subs." I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me. He says, "No, it was fantastic." He said, I went to the place. I knocked on the door with the 4 subs. He goes, "I paid in advance." I think it was $32 at the time. And so I paid in advance until I wouldn't have to go back to the sub shop. And he delivered the subs. I said, "What did the people say?" He said, "You know, they were shocked." But I said, "Rob, as mayor, you can't deliver subs." And to him, he was delivering those subs no matter what. He goes, "It was great. I gained 4 new voters, and they gave me $35. And I said, "You never kept the $3 tip?" He goes, "Of course I did. I kept the $3 tip." You know, but, you know, now I'm going to get into how this became reality. You know, Paul Ainsley, I also call him Paulie as well. When you sit beside someone for 4 years, you get to know them extremely well. You know their family, you know history, back and forth. And, you know, Paulie, thank you so much for bringing this forward. It means everything to us. But let me just mention this. It wasn't just Paul. If the council didn't vote for it, this would not happen. And now here we go with the mayor. I absolutely love her. I think the world of her. And I'm so, so grateful, because without the support of the council and ultimately the support of the mayor, that I'll be forever, ever grateful, Olivia, or Mayor Chow, I should say. And I'll never, ever forget it. This would not happen if it wasn't for the mayor and the city council. You know, I was mentioning about how the Rob Ford Foundation put in over $100,000, but he wouldn't brag about that. He wouldn't brag about buying equipment. But these are some of the schools the Rob Football Foundation supported. Newton Brook Secondary School, Don Bosco Catholic Secondary School, Sir Sanford Fleming Academy, Westview Centennial, Forest Hill Collegiate, Eastern Commerce Collegiate, Monarch Park Collegiate Institute, Lester B. Pearson Collegiate, and C.W. Jeffries Collegiate. These are some of the schools that benefited from Rob and what he believed in, and just supporting the community. He always thought some kids are gifted academically, some kids are gifted with a trade, some kids have the natural athletic build and ready to go. And Rob thought, through football, I can teach them values. Values of being honest, supporting the community, teamwork, working together, and getting things accomplished. That's what he taught a lot of the kids, and many more things, and getting ready for life. I pulled out, there's you could imagine, not hundreds, probably thousands of quotes. And I just found a couple, and I think they'll agree. This is one from CBC News. The headlines were, Rob Ford, a father figure to the football team at Don Bosco. Opoka, I don't know first or last name, you guys probably know better than I do behind me, spent 2 seasons playing for Rob Ford at Don Bosco. Then for 4 more years, helping the former mayor out as an assistant coach. He says, Ford was a father figure to him. And that's the way Rob looked at it. Another quote here from Life magazine, Don Bosco football Eagles ready for takeoff. Russ Huff, general manager of the Etobicoke Eagles. Now, the Etobicoke Eagles was a summer team that Rob would coach, and the football players up there, that's the same, probably Etobicoke Eagles, just a younger generation. Because Rob didn't just coach during football season in high school, he coached all summer long as well. So Russ Huff, general manager of the Etobicoke Eagles football organization and current coach of Silverthorne Collegiate. This is his quote. In just a few years, they've gone from dormant in the West End to a cohesive, competitive team that has to be considered a championship contender every single year. Hoff credits Ford's hard work. He's gotten kids in that area to come out and represent their community in a positive way. I'm going to read one more quote here. This is news, Toronto.com. Don Bosco football players remember Rob Ford, their coach and their mentor. Former player Andre Laporte said, everything that the media put on him was so bad, and no one ever got to see the good he did for us as football players. He taught us the values of life, what to do after football, how to make it in the world. And these are just some of the quotes. Sorry, one more. Hamilton defensive back Jay Langa played for Ford for 5 seasons, starting in 2004 while attending Don Bosco High School in Etobicoke, where Ford served as head coach. It was a rough neighborhood, and Langa says football and Ford helped them stay on the right path. Well, I'll tell you, these young men behind me, they're on the right path. They have great careers. They're leaders in their community, and it all started, I believe, back in high school. Or it could start in your college, but, you know, something had an impact for Rob. And I just want to thank Olivia once again. I want to thank Paul Johnson, Donna, and Trina, and your whole team at the city. You've been absolutely phenomenal. And, you know, God's looking down on us with his rain. I thought, you know, at 6 o'clock, I thought, okay, we're done. We're finished. So I called the weatherman, my nephew, Michael Ford. He's never wrong. And the reason I trust the weatherman, because he has his pilot's license. I would never get in the plane. I wouldn't get on the back of the bicycle with Mikey, but he always predicts the weather all the time. We were up north once, and I said, Michael, is it going to rain? He looked out, yeah, in about 8 minutes. 8 minutes to the T, it started raining, so I called him, and Michael, you're bang on. You're bang on. You know, I'm going to leave it with this. Rob believed in a theory of a famous president, and I said this in his eulogy. It was Abraham Lincoln. And Rob believed in governing of the people, by the people, and for the people. I want to thank each and every one of you. I want to thank my colleagues from Queen's Park. I call my PC family, and you truly are my family. I wouldn't be standing here, folks, if it wasn't for our caucus that works day in and day out. And I'm just so grateful. I'm getting chills talking about you guys. I think the other half of the crew's down at the legislature, keeping things moving along. And boy, you mean everything to me. You really do. Anyways, thank you, everyone. I can't wait to go over and meet each and every one of you. If you have time, come over to the ski chalet, just a short little walk there. And we're going to have some burgers and everything. And Renata, congratulations, my sister and brother, and all the grandchildren, my kids, and yourself, Stephanie. You have a bright future in politics. And again, God bless each and every one of you. Thank you so much, everyone.